Okay, so I was scoring that, you know, we have spent much of our time looking at the companies that order, right? They get the finished goods. After getting the finished goods, then they sell those finished goods, right? But this round, we want to look at the company that is manufacturing. How do they prepare their profit and loss statements? So there are two key, methods that are available. The first one is called marginal costing, and then the other one is absorption costing. Absorption costing is also called traditional costing, right? This is called traditional costing method, or is also called full costing method. These are the two major ways or methods that are used to prepare the statement of profit and loss in a company that is manufacturing. And please, you have to pay attention to this. This is very important. That's why I had to come back and redo it, because I see the importance of this. So let's zero in with the marginal costing account. So with the marginal costing account, as we did highlight, and we are still saying, this one, uh, considers only the variable costs in production. So when we are setting the closing inventory, consider the variable cost. And so this is how it starts, right? It starts with we want to start with the cost of raw materials. So here we start with the cost of raw materials, right? Materials. But most of the time, I should be quick to indicate. It's rare. Sometimes you may not really have the direct material cost put together, or direct material cost per unit. You get it, eh? You may need to calculate for it. Of course, in several questions that you'll find the direct material cost given as a unit, direct material cost. So if you have the direct material cost given per unit, you just put direct cost, um, you know, direct material costs. It will be given in the question, just write in this column. All right. Then you write direct labor costs in there. However, remember, uh, this is this is a profit and loss statement. So the profit and loss statement starts with revenue. So on top, the very top, you have revenue. Put in the last column. So from revenue, you are lessing the cost of sales. These are variable costs in our case. Since this is marginal costing, you are going to deduct the variable cost, only the variable cost. So let's say less the variable production costs. Or less marginal costs is the same thing. When you have the direct material costs and the direct labor costs, you will have to consolidate these and also add the variable production what? Overhead. The variable production overhead. Remember, the word overhead, we say it simply means indirect cost. So we are talking about the indirect costs that are variable in this case, and they take place in the factory, the variable factory overheads. They are added here, right? You have to add them there. When you have variable production overheads, please consolidate and just add them there. Okay. So once we have the variable production, the question of the day is, what else are you going to do, right? You're going to add. Okay, we're going to add these costs here. You can even add them here. Add like this. Consolidate these. Add these. You can add the variable production, or non-factory overheads. The variable non-factory overheads. Remember, the variable costs could be divided into variable overheads and the non-factory variable overhead. Like the costs that take outside, the variable costs that take place outside, for example, sales. Sales, the commission, bank others. Those you could put them in the last in this column as the variable non-production costs, the non-factory variable costs. Add them these, and then when you this plus that, I guess you're following. The figure that you find is what you push in the last column, and it shall be deducted from what? From revenue, so that contribute. Is that it? You will have the contribution, not the profit. Remember, from revenue, always when you're dealing with full costing, as you are going to see, when you deduct the costs from revenue, you find, what do you find? You find gross profit. But if you deduct variable costs from revenue, right? You say revenue minus variable, you produce. So what you have now, we are still, are we connected? Are we following? You will question, don't worry. But as for now, we wanted you to pick the format because the format is important dealing with things. Okay? Are we set up to here? Any questions? Okay, I'm connected. And there's the land. Oh, okay. Mm -hmm. Confirm you are able to follow, you are able to see me. Anyone can do that. Mm. Okay, it's able to me.
I'm able to get you, though you are breaking.
Okay. So she's saying the line is cutting. Is it the same with everyone? I always need that feedback since this is online education, because I may not know, how you're receiving the information from your end. So it's important when we ask you, just, turn on your mic, give feedback. That's all, woman. Just give
Yes,
feedback,
I
then we
was
move on.
breaking.
Oh, all right. But how is it now? Is there an improvement?
Your network, yeah, this is when I can get you. Ever since I was logged in, this is when I've just started getting you.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Leah, you have been in class. Okay. All right. Can you hear me now? Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, I
is there an
can.
improvement? Okay, thank you. So we are trying to look at marginal cost, yeah, marginal costing as a method of computing the profit or loss in a manufacturing company. So I was just trying to highlight and show you the pro forma or the format for the same. I said it starts with the revenue. You record revenue in the last column like that. Whatever revenue you are given in the question, record revenue or sales. However, most of the times revenue may not really be given as revenue. You may just be given the sales price and the quantity sold. So you have to multiply the sales price times the quantity sold. That will give you revenue, record in the last column. From there, you can deduct variable costs. That's what I was saying. You deduct the variable costs. And by variable costs, you can start with direct material costs per unit usually. You'll be given direct material cost per unit. So you get the cost per unit that you're given for direct materials times the production, the units produced, not the units sold. Sometimes you have the units produced and the units sold different. If they are different, please, you need to multiply the direct material cost per unit times the produced. That will give you the direct material cost. And also when it comes to labor cost, the labor cost per unit multiplied by the units produced, you record here. Then variable production overhead per unit as well, multiply and record here. When you have these, you add them together, then you have this here, this figure. Are you able to see this figure? When you add these, like 1, 2, 3, you have this figure. To this figure, you will add the variable non-production overheads. Or variable variable sales stations, they are non-product variable overheads. So you have to add them to this figure. When you add these two, I said what you produce, this figure here that you're seeing, and this is to be deducted from revenue so that you can get contribution. Are you fine now? Can you hear me? Did you get this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now from contribution, all you have to do, because of space, I'm going to erase. I'm going to erase top. Then you continue writing from contribution. Now we have contribution. It is in the last column. Okay. Contribution. The format is very important. You know, it simplifies the contribution. So from the contribution that we have, you can just, what are you deducting? The fixed cost, the variable costs, both the production ones and the non-production. Now you can less see the fixed what? The fixed cost. And by fixed cost, I mean both the production fixed cost and the non-production fixed cost. You can even less the fixed production costs. These, put them in the first column, and then come up with the fixed administration, for example, fixed administration cost, admin cost, you know. In short, all the fixed costs, fixed selling cost, all the fixed costs in short, whether production or non-production, they should be deducted here. Consolidated, meaning added together here, their total pushed in the last column and be deducted from contribution. Then what you have here in the last column is the net profit or the net loss. Is that clear? This will be your net profit or net loss. Do we have a question? Is there any question? We have a question? Any question? Question there is no. Okay. If there is no question, so this is how you come up with it. If it's negative, that's net loss. If it's positive, That is net profit. Okay. But now from here, I want to show you the pro forma for absorption cost. There is just a very small difference that I want you to notice. From the format, then you can get to do the questions. I'll give you the problem to try. This is the one. Now we want to do the one for production. The production, it is absorption costing. It starts with sales or revenue. Remember, sales or revenue is one and the same thing. Put in the last column, then less. What are you deducting now? You are deducting the cost of sales. Now, the cost of sales, this one is both the production costs and everything. Like, you're just deducting all the costs. This one starts with opening inventory as well. Opening inventory. Okay. You will start with opening inventory of this. After opening inventory of this, then you will have to add the cost of production. And by cost of production, you mean direct material costs. Even in the in marginal costing, by the way, you start with opening inventory and then you add the rest. So you have direct material costs, okay, direct labor costs, then you have variable, the variable production. There is some variable production overhead. Variable production overhead, sorry, the indirect costs that variable. So direct material costs, direct labor costs, variable production overheads. Then you can also add the fixed production overheads. So here you've seen, we are not just considering the variable costs, we are also considering everything, including the fixed one. As long as it's a production cost, whether variable or fixed, it is considered here. Consolidate these like that. You add these, you have that total. Okay? And when you have that total, what do you do? What do you do from that total? Okay? So from that total is where you need to add or deduct over absorption or under absorbed fixed costs. So under absorbed slash over absorbed fixed production costs. You remember, you have to put it here. Yeah. Add or deduct over absorption, under absorption, or add over absorption in this on this part. When you add that, like these two, you add them, the answer you find, you push in the last column like that, and then you deduct this from sales so that you can get gross profit. Now you don't get contribution. You've seen that, right? Under variable costs or marginal costing, you get contribution, isn't it? You get contribution. By here, you get gross profit. The point that we are emphasizing is that here on top, we are just looking at only the manufacturing costs. These are manufacturing costs, or like the production costs, really. Those that just take place in the factory, whether variable or fixed, they are put in there and considered here upwards, right? Now we can continue from the the gross profit. It is in the last column, by the way. Let's start from the gross profit again. Going down. This is just a format. Gross profit in the last column like that. What do you do after the gross profit? Then you have to less all the non-factory costs. You get it, eh? Remember the ones that you have already considered are factory costs. So you less see all the non-factory what? Factory costs. All the non-factory costs, whether fixed or variable. So you can even start with the variable non-production costs, like for example, variable sales commission. You write in the first column, and then you come up with the fixed one. These are fixed non-production, fixed administration, for example. As long as they are fixed costs, all of them, fixed and variable, as long as they are non-production, they are non-factor, you have to add them here, and their total push in the last column, yeah? Deduct it from gross profit to find the net, what? The net profit or the net losses. Okay, what you find is net profit if it's positive, and the net loss if it's negative. Is that clear? This is a simple format for the absorption, costing, and the what's this, and the marginal costing. Is there any question? Do you have any question before I send a problem?